Here are the most recent deaths in the national news, as reported at Legacy.com in the third week of July 2026. I'm your host, Linnea Crowther. I'm the news editor at Legacy.com, where you can read full obituaries for most of the people featured in this video and leave your own condolences on their Legacy page. Here at Legacy, we take great care to verify that death news is real before we publish it. If you see someone here, that means we've been able to confirm the news of their passing from an authoritative source. Actress Kaylee Hottle died July 21, 2026 in a vehicle accident in Maryland. Reports of her age differ. She was either 18 or 19 years old. She played Gia, the young deaf girl in Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla Kong: The New Empire, and she was in an episode of Magnum P.I. Hottle is being remembered as a beloved member of the deaf community who is gone too soon. Footballer Kevin Keegan died July 20, 2026 after fighting stomach cancer at the age of 75. He earned the nickname King Kev during his years as a player in the 1960s through 80s. He was especially known for his years with Liverpool when he helped the team to many victories, including their first European Cup win in 1977. Keegan is also being remembered for his career as a manager, especially for Newcastle United, where he helped bring the team back into the Premier League. Musician Jennifer Finch died July 18, 2026 after fighting brain cancer at the age of 59. She was the bassist for L7, the all-female punk band that had an alt-rock hit in 1992 with Pretend We're Dead. Finch is being remembered for helping define the grunge and riot girl styles with her powerful, sludgy bass sound. Cricketer Sir Garfield Sobers died July 17, 2026 at the age of 89. He was a Barbadian star of cricket, widely considered one of the sport's all-time greats. Sobers is being remembered as an all-rounder who became the first batsman ever to hit 6 sixes in a single over. Singer Jim Gilstrap died July 18, 2026 of natural causes at the age of 79. He sang the theme song to the hit sitcom Good Times, and his vocals can be heard on the first 2 lines of Stevie Wonder's classic song You Are the Sunshine of My Life. He is also being remembered for his own hit single Swing Your Daddy. Gilstrap was a Vietnam War veteran who served in the U.S. Navy Reserve. Journalist Dave Kendall died in July 2026 at the age of 63. He created and hosted 120 Minutes, the groundbreaking MTV program that showcased alternative and indie bands in the 1980s, 90s, and 2000s. Kendall is being remembered for bringing new music to a generation of viewers. Rapper Doreen Broadnax died July 4, 2026 at the age of 61. No cause of death has been announced. She was better known as Sparky D in the 1980s when she helped launch the legendary hip-hop battle known as the Roxanne Wars with her track Sparky's Turn, Roxanne You're Through. Broadnax is being remembered as a pioneer who opened doors for women in hip-hop. Activist Mary Morello died July 12, 2026 at the age of 102. She founded Parents for Rock and Rap in 1987, an anti-censorship campaign that offered a counterpoint to the PMRC's efforts to censor popular music. Morello is also being remembered as the mother of Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine. She often introduced the band at their shows. Baseball player Duane Ward died July 18, 2026 in Toronto. He died of natural causes at the age of 62. He was a relief pitcher best known for his years with the Toronto Blue Jays in the 1980s and 90s, including helping the team to back-to-back World Series championships in 1992 and 93. Ward is being remembered as a team ambassador who was beloved by fans and young players. Musician Plas died July 15, 2026 at his home in Los Angeles at the age of 94. He played the iconic saxophone line in Henry Mancini's classic theme song to the Pink Panther. He is also being remembered for his solo recordings and for his work as a sought-after session musician. Johnson was a U.S. Army veteran of the Korean War. Baseball player Ron Hunt died July 15, 2026 at his home in St. Louis. He died after fighting Parkinson's disease and cancer at the age of 85. He was a second baseman in the 1960s and 70s for teams including the Montreal Expos, where he set a modern-day record by being hit by more pitches than anyone else, 51 times in a single season. Hunt is also being remembered for his time with such teams as the New York Mets, St. Louis Cardinals, and San Francisco Giants. Writer and outdoorsman Charles Gaines died July 21, 2026 at the age of 84. His best-selling 1974 book, Pumping Iron, helped launch the career of Arnold Schwarzenegger and introduced competitive bodybuilding to a wide audience. Gaines is also being remembered as a regular contributor to many magazines and as the co-inventor of the sport of paintball. Singer and songwriter Brian Doerksen died July 21, 2026 of cancer at the age of 60. He wrote and sang contemporary Christian music, including such award-winning songs as Today, When You Shepherd Me, and Holy God. Doerksen is also being remembered as a worship leader at churches in his home of Canada. Sport fisherman Stu Tinney died July 10, 2026 at his home at the age of 92. He was named one of the top 100 living legends of American sport fishing, especially known as an authority on freshwater striped bass. Tinney is also being remembered as the founder and editor of Striper magazine and the author of the book Life's No Fun Until You Get Your Feet Wet. Musician Oliver Jones died July 22, 2026 at the age of 91. He was a jazz pianist from Montreal whose long career earned him a place in the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. Jones is being remembered for his long association with the Montreal International Jazz Festival and for helping make Montreal a destination city for jazz lovers. Singer Freddy died July 17, 2026 at a hospice facility in Oxnard, California. He died after fighting cancer at the age of 89. He was a rock and roll pioneer who had hits in the late 50s and early 60s, including Palisades Park, Tallahassee Lassie, and Way Down Yonder in New Orleans. Cannon is being remembered for his upbeat, fun concerts, which always got audiences on their feet and dancing. Actress Brenda Fricker died July 16, 2026 in Dublin. She died after a period of ill health at the age of 81. She became the first Irish actress to win an Academy Award, taking the honor for her supporting performance in the 1989 film My Left Foot. Fricker is also being remembered for her performance in Home Alone 2: Lost in New York as the Pigeon Lady, as well as for roles in So I Married an Axe Murderer, Angels in the Outfield, and many more. One of our favorite TV stars of all time would have been 103 this week. But before we get to that and all the celebrity anniversaries, I want to mention some of the really remarkable tributes we saw at Legacy.com this week. Not for celebrities, but just for interesting, everyday people whose families wanted to celebrate their memory. Like this Massachusetts and Virginia dad and Air Force veteran Mike Manzelli, who started his adult life as a firefighter and paramedic and went on to become a devoted carpenter and woodworker. Like this 98-year-old North Carolina grandmother Claire Hurst, who fought for civil rights as a college student and later in life served her community as an ordained pastor in the AME Zion Church. And like this Texan-turned-Virginian father Fernando Alexander Flores Gomez, who co-authored a popular Catholic cookbook called Cooking with the Saints and also served 3 decades with the United Nations. At Legacy.com, any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory, online and in local newspapers everywhere. Just visit Legacy.com and select your local community. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 4 years ago this week, actor Tony Dow died at the age of 77. He played the fan favorite Big Brother Wally Cleaver on the iconic sitcom Leave It to Beaver. 11 years ago this week, singer Lynn Anderson died at the age of 67. Her chart-topping country music hits included Rose Garden, which also crossed over to mainstream fame, as well as How Can I Unlove You and What a Man My Man Is. Football player Walter Payton was born 73 years ago this week. He died in November 1999 at the age of 46. A running back who spent his entire NFL career with the Chicago Bears and helped the team to their lone Super Bowl victory, he is widely considered one of the best football players of all time. Actor Jerry Van Dyke was born 95 years ago this week. He died in January 2018 at the age of 86. The younger brother of Dick Van Dyke, he had a starring role in the sitcom Coach. Actress Estelle Getty was born 103 years ago this week. She died in July 2008 at the age of 84. She starred as Sophia Petrillo in the beloved sitcom The Golden Girls, and she appeared in movies like Mask and Stuart Little. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags in New Jersey have been lowered to honor the memory of Malaga Fire Company firefighter Robert W. Ryder III, who died of injuries sustained in the line of duty. Flags in Louisiana have been lowered to honor the memory of Deputy United States Marshal Michael Andrew Hansen. Flags in Hawaii have been lowered to honor the memory of U.S. Army First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan. Flags in Arizona have been lowered to honor the memory of former State Senate President Carl Kunasek. Flags in South Carolina have been lowered to honor the memory of Senator Lindsey Graham. Flags in Virginia have been lowered to honor the memory of U.S. Army First Lieutenant Kendrick Lamont Key, Jr. Flags in North Carolina have been lowered to honor the memory of First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan and Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. Follow Legacy.com on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.